So Travis Scott just released his new album Utopia and it's getting a lot of praise. And I do think it's a good album, but there's kind of this really unsettling feeling that I feel right now because of what happened a few years ago at the Astroworld tragedy. Now, I'm sure a lot of you remember the situation, but there's like a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and I kind of want to bring you up all into speed, some of the clips that I found, and I also want to talk about the morals and ethics. Like, is it okay to stream his music? Like, can we acknowledge that somebody did a bad thing and separate the art from the artist? I just think that's a really interesting conversation that we could have. But first, I want to bring you up all to speed because the causes of this behavior, what happened at Astroworld, it stemmed from years ago and the experiences that you would see at Travis Scott shows. I'm going to show you some of this right here. So this is on the Astroworld album, the Stargazing. There's a lyric that says, "And it ain't a mosh pit if it ain't no injuries. I got them off the stage diving out the nosebleeds." And it just kind of shows you the casualness of the kind of, environment that he encourages. And I'll show you some clips of Travis Scott just casually, wanting to have his fans do dangerous things. And obviously when you promote an environment like that, incidents are going to happen and you can't just dismiss them. I feel like if Travis instead had not done this, I don't think the crowds would have gone as crazy as they did. Obviously, it's not just Travis's fault. I mean, you can blame the organizers and all that stuff, but he definitely should be held accountable. And it is kind of scary to be seeing everyone kind of brush this under the rug. So I kind of want to show you here. So here's a clip that I found.
Hey yo, listen son, this is not no motherfucking ballet, this ain't no runway, this ain't no motherfucking dance show. You either get on this stage and rage, or take your motherfucking ass home, you understand? Run it!
Yeah, so, I mean, people throw out the word toxic masculinity a lot, and this is really, I think it runs deeper than that, because I think most artists and most concerts have the common sense to know that saying stuff like this isn't great. I mean, when you have a bunch of people in a giant crowd, and this isn't even just other stuff. I mean, people get inappropriately touched in concerts all the time because they're just so close to each other. There's not much that can be done. When you're packed in together like that, it feels like no one can see you. I've had really bad experiences at concerts before, so it just really sucks to see an artist who just kind of wants their fans to go crazy, not really caring about the health and the safety, and just kind of assuming that it's all going to be okay at the end. Here's another video that I found that I was just really shocked by.
I see you, bro. Are you gonna do it? Give me 18 real quick. I see you, but are you gonna do it?
That's just really disturbing to me. Now, I've seen from the comments that apparently this wasn't the guy that got paralyzed, but at the same event, some other fan got injured due to stuff like this. And it's just, what people don't understand about this, and this goes for YouTubers and other people too, when you are out here and you're telling people what to do, and a lot of people in this crowd would love to get attention from Travis Scott or anyone who's really famous, right? These levels of power dynamics. So they do these crazy stuff because they're going to get noticed by somebody like this. And, when audiences learn that sort of behavior, if you're a Twitter account and you kind of only respond to haters and only respond to negativity and only respond to crazy, insane replies, well, you're going to get a lot more of those insane replies. It's kind of what I've noticed this a ton on Twitter. It's you see so many terrible tweets and just as a toxic behavior because that's what gets elevated. That's what people notice, And it really just does so much harm for casual engagement. But in this situation, I mean, this is more serious because this endangers people. This threatens their lives. So it doesn't shock me that when you have this sort of environment, it's going to lead to a situation where people just are packed in together. People, I mean, there's no regard for safety. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos from like the day that this happened, but people that morning before the event in Astroworld, people were climbing over fences. People were just disregarding everything, and nobody sat there and thought like, hey, maybe we should pause, maybe we should, reconsider. It was just kind of considered normal for the kind of environment that Travis Scott brings for his shows. And there's just so many opportunities where somebody could have stepped in and been like, hey, we need to stop this. And it's really so sad that it took like so many people dying for people to even, talk about this. Because this had happened for years.
Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. Turn the lights on. Make some noise, small boy right there, hanging in the tree right there. That's okay with you real quick. Take me, let's do
it. And he just continues the show. That's insane. That's insane.
There are some people who were just laughing.
And just so you know, I mean, I don't know if this video contains it, but there's so many videos where you can hear the entire crowd chant "stop the show," and it's like very clear, and you can tell that like Travis can hear that, and he just continues. Can I find it on here?
Around 9:46 in the South Quadrant, medical personnel do chest compressions on at least 2 people. The fire incident commander declares the scene a mass casualty incident by 9:52 p.m., according to the Houston firefighters log, a trigger that doubles the number of responding firefighters. Roughly 2 minutes later, rapper Drake makes a surprise appearance on stage.
See, this is what really infuriates me, because here in the crowd, I mean, people are literally already dead. People have been shouting, "Stop the show," and it's just business as usual. It's just wild to me. Like, I saw videos with like ambulances there. This dude should have known what was going on. I couldn't sympathize for the possibility, but there was just too much going on. He had to know something was going on. And I'm just baffled. Why didn't they stop it? Why didn't they stop it? There's no excuse. I mean, after this whole thing, videos that came out of Billie Eilish and other popular bands, giving water bottles to fans, or noticing that like a member in the crowd, like if they can do that, he could notice like 10, 11 people dropping dead. And this all happened like right within the show.
Stop this show! Stop this show! Stop this show! Stop this show!
He had to have heard that. There's no way he didn't hear that. And like any artist, I'm sorry, but like any artist who hears that and doesn't immediately take that seriously, like, I just don't understand how...
Fucking noise real quick, y'all. Stop that show! Stop that show! Cell phone flashlights in the air, y'all.
Yeah, so everything's like kind of normal off at the beginning of the day because people don't know what's about to happen, right? I wonder if it's gonna show the video of like people. Okay, it's not gonna show that.
Somebody want to tell me what?
Oh. But like I was reading and watching videos of like people who got like stuck into it. Like they wanted to leave because of how scary it was. And these are just like normal people. but it was in such a dangerous like place, and they just were so stuck by the crowd. They were so together. There wasn't any space to breathe, to walk. And even though they recognized it was unsafe, they weren't able to leave. It's just such a heartbreaking situation. And just the way that like Travis responded like wasn't great. I'm sure you guys have seen this, right?
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, you know, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, you know, help them get the help they need, you know.
And that just didn't happen during the show. It just blatantly didn't happen. So now you guys know about the whole Astroworld incident, right? And I'm sure you've known, but I wanted to play these clips to show you that it wasn't just that day. There were plenty of things that led up to that day, plenty of things that could have been done and actions that just weren't taken. So I just kind of want to address, like, after Astroworld, I mean, Travis Scott didn't release a lot of music because it's this weird feeling of now he's dropping an album and everyone is like suddenly forgetting. But then there's the issue of like, you know, should someone be held accountable forever for this? But in my opinion, you cross a certain line when like people die. You know what I'm saying? Like those people are not going to come back. Those families are forever traumatized, forever changed. And like, I just cannot express enough, right? For Travis Scott to just be able to walk away from this and just make an album and everybody still praise him and act like nothing ever happened is just really sad. It's really sad. And I understand separating the art from the artist, right? You can like somebody's music, like Michael Jackson, for instance. Michael Jackson, have y'all watched the documentary about it? He's guilty, okay? That's a whole other video, but I fully believe it, right? But Michael Jackson created some of the best pop songs ever made, you know? And if somebody listens to his music, I'm not gonna like think of them any less, right? Because it's like, he has some good songs. But I think we can be intelligent about this and be like smart enough to know that, you know, maybe someone could make great music, but they can be a terrible person, and we should call that out, and that should be known, and we should try our best to learn from these situations and, you know, try to demand more from the people, like celebrities in our lives, because it's so weird the way the cancel culture works, right? A lot of people get canceled for the stupidest things, like the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light thing. She got canceled for being a trans person promoting a beer, and then people just... It's absurd. I'm a trans woman myself. It just sucks to see people getting canceled for existing while being trans, being called groomers and all that stuff. And it's like people in the LGBT community or people of certain minorities, I feel like are overly targeted in these cancel culture scenarios. But people with positions of power or people who, I think the bigger you are, the less likely you are to be fully affected by cancel culture, right? If you're somebody people don't really care about, or, you know, no one has really thought about you in a long time, it's much easier to just be like, oh, forget this person. I'm going to cancel them. I'm going to drop their music, you know? Like when the R. Kelly thing happened. Like R. Kelly hadn't had any hit singles recently, right? When his allegations came out, people had kind of forgotten about him. So it was, you know, easy for people to just like not listen to his music because really no one really was caring about him anyway. And we all acknowledge that the stuff he did was horrible. Now, obviously, the Travis Scott thing is a completely different scenario here, right? It's the sense of like, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people can argue like, how much is he really to blame here, right? Because obviously he didn't want people to get hurt, but it's more of a sense of negligence. And negligence is, I mean, it can prove to be deadly in situations like this. And you really can't make excuses for it, you know? So in the future, we need to demand more of artists, and I think we can use this as a clear example, as a standing line. And I do think we need to reiterate it time and time again. And also, Travis really has just been really quiet about this whole thing. I mean, I think he should have experienced some kind of consequences. I'm sure some of you might say, well, he did experience a consequence because, he wasn't able to really put out music for a few years. And I'm just like, how much of a consequence is that really, though? At the end of the day, if you're responsible, or at least partially responsible, for the death of, 10, 11, I don't know the exact number of people, but it was a lot of people. To me, it just doesn't seem like a, mental health break that a YouTuber can take. Like, I apologize for tweeting a racial slur in 2010. I'm just gonna move away for a few months and then I'm gonna come back. Like, Shane Dawson, we all know what happened. And then he had his little following still support him. And that's a whole thing. I just feel like the consequences of this were so severe. People's lives were ended and so many people affected who loved those people, their families and the friends. There's no way to make up for that. And I feel like if Travis had really stepped up and really done a 180 and really gone out of his way to try to make things better, then I would be like, it doesn't negate what happened, but it would be like, I can respect him more for that. But I just don't feel like he's done that, though. I just don't see it in his behavior, So it's just a really tricky situation. And I want to hear from you guys. Where do you guys draw the line here? Are you willing to forgive Travis for what happened? Do you think that he responded fine? This whole situation of, separate the art from the artist is something that I completely agree with to an extent, right? I'm not going to, like I said before, if you listen to the Travis Scott album and you enjoyed it, I'm not going to judge you. I listened to it. I thought it was a great album. And that's truthful. I think that he really evolved his sound, and that's good to hear, right? But it's just the fact that we're all ignoring this, that this terrible thing happened that he was directly, he was a part of, and it's just silence. It's like it never happened. It's disrespectful. And it's not that I want to hold people forever. I don't want anything to ever I'm not a fan of somebody made a terrible tweet 10 years ago and they have to, it's going to ruin their life and for the rest of their life. I'm past people getting, I forgive people and I think they should be given second chances, but you got to earn that chance. You don't just get it. Time doesn't heal all things, just because time has passed doesn't make it suddenly okay. You have to earn that. And people are going to come to their own judgments and their own decisions. And there's going to be people who are still going to criticize him and be like, hey, this isn't okay and we need to talk about this. And they're not haters. They're not people who want to see Travis Scott fail. They're people who saw people die and are thinking, rightfully so, that, we need to talk more about this. We need to imply better security standards. It's crazy. I don't know. I could go on about this for a long time, but I think I'm probably going to end it here. Thank you guys for watching and supporting the content. Please subscribe to me on this channel and my main channel at Rose Millet. I'm really just starting off here. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.